Hi, intrepid viewers, and welcome back to another installment of this saga. How many films are going to be made about this down the track? It's just amazing. But we need to focus on what's happening right now, which, of course, is the Buzzfeed debacle. So Buzzfeed, that generally speaking does a good job and, it's out there making a difference, put out a piece that they obviously felt, they'd sewn up, and using their sources to say that Trump had asked Cohen to lie, thereby obstruction of justice and various other charges. And the very unusual thing happened, which was Mueller coming back saying, not that it wasn't true, but saying aspects of the reporting were not correct. Now, let's have a look, because it's not good news for BuzzFeed. It means the right can now say you can't believe anything they say and all of that. So, there's a lot at stake for BuzzFeed. And we want to know, what's the story behind the story and what's the story behind Mueller's response? So let's have a look first off at BuzzFeed and the story, the original story. BuzzFeed and the story. BuzzFeed. Trump asking Cohen to lie. Oh, imagine such a thing. Okay, so we have here all right, we have here the card of the juggler and sometimes the manipulator balancing things. So this is, because this question was about BuzzFeed, this could well have been their editorial team. Will we publish? Won't we publish? How good are our sources? Are they good enough? Etc. My feel is that this is about BuzzFeed's original decision, and then they decided to go ahead. So I think they didn't take this decision lightly originally. They get trade and commerce, the Three of Wands, trade and commerce across the water, or waiting for your ship to come in, the various interpretations of the Three of Wands. But in the context of this question again, BuzzFeed and the information, I take this to be that this was transactional. That's why they were thinking of it a lot. This was a transaction between Cohen and Trump, and that they felt they had the scoop. And as we know, they did for about 12 hours or whatever. All the news agencies went crazy about it. This was it. This was the proof. And it all went amazing for about 12 hours, and then came the response. So they thought their ship was going to come in with this. This would make BuzzFeed's reputation forever. And you can imagine, they wrestled with it, they decided to go, and then they got that response. They would have thought, oh my God, this is going to launch BuzzFeed onto the world stage, which is the other aspect of this, across the waters. Everyone would want to know about BuzzFeed and BuzzFeed's access to sources and BuzzFeed's journalism. It was going to be the big one. So they must be feeling a bit conflicted now. They then got the strength card, which was underneath their will we do it or won't we do it decision. They thought, in good faith, I will say that, I definitely feel that, in good faith, they thought it was strong enough, that their sources were strong enough. Now they're in retreat, and they're up against it now. It's how they broke the Steele dossier, remember? Now, in fairness to Buzzfeed, they said at the time, this, you know, when they launched the Steele dossier, they said some things are verified, some things aren't. No one heard that because no one could see past the P tapes, as they famously became called. So they actually did quite a good job, and it's how it was handled was not marvellous. Excuse me. But now, this on top of that is tricky for them, very tricky for Buzzfeed. So I now want to look at it from Muller's perspective. Let's look at it from Muller's perspective. Why the special counsel felt compelled to act. Oops. Bad shuffling. Bad shuffling. Now let's do some good shuffling. Oh, I can't. Fumble fingers today. Okay. Muller's perspective on the Buzzfeed revelations. Muller's perspective on this. Muller's perspective on this. Muller's perspective on this. Oh, he really was not happy, viewers. Really not happy. So not happy. I can't begin to describe how unhappy Muller was at hearing this. Not just a little bit grumpy or a little bit cross. Furious. The Ten of Swords. Oh dear. Right? So, they had... Let's just back up a bit. Muller's team did not release a statement saying this was all wrong, terrible, go away, what a silly idea, at all. They did not do that. They said aspects of the reporting were not accurate, and that's very guarded lawyer speak for, you know what, other aspects were accurate, and that's why he's so upset, because it takes away some of his power in relation to when this issue comes up. What is the issue about? Of course, the greedy king, Trump. The harvest. Have we done enough? Have we got enough? So this is Mueller's eternal question, in the sense we can be sure he's got enough, but it's how it's put together. His job is to make a watertight prosecutorial recommendation, or whatever they do, special counsels. They don't try the cases. So he's very cautious, as we know, always wants to make sure he's got his ducks in the row. He wants to make sure everything is perfect, and this was sort of out of alignment. So something about what they said was not quite right. However, as always, Mueller has the magician card. So let me remind you, those who are learning tarot, with the magician, you see the diagonal arms connecting heaven and earth. All the powerful suits are at the command of the magician. This is a blip on the radar, and in fact, you could make an argument, because Trump had to basically thank him, it sort of helps people see that the Mueller investigation is very fair. So in other words, although he's spewing, as we say in Australia, Mueller is spewing, really angry, and he'd be just as angry, not so much at Buzzfeed, but whoever these law enforcement officers were, whoever the sources were, he's angry at them because they're running off at the mouth in a way that he would not appreciate. But it's all right, of course. He will pull it out of the fire. He is the alchemist. He still has the power. So that's how I see that. Now, the next issue. Trump came back with an offer about the wall. Look, I have to say, viewers, I thought it was not an unreasonable offer from his position. It wasn't more money. It was the same money. And 3 years for dreamers, a 3-year reprieve. Now, technically, the Democrats were within their rights to say that's not a permanent solution. That's not what we want. We want all or nothing, dreamers, dreamers, and so forth. I understand that. And if there wasn't a shutdown, I'd be the first to be sitting here in Australia saying, hold out, because who wants 3 years and then to not know whether you had that status after 3 years? It'd be awful, all of that. But is it the smartest thing for the Dems to do now while there is the longest shutdown? And the offer looks reasonable to most people. In fact, the right will hate it. So I'm just saying, you never know where this stuff's going to go on a day-to-day basis, do you? So, okay, what am I asking? I'm asking, okay, reaction. The Dems have said no, so the Dems and the reaction to saying no. What's going to be the fallout from saying no? From saying no. Saying no. The Dems. Let's have a look. Holding their cards close to their chest. Oh, the manipulator turned up again. Hanged man. Let's go one more. Oh, you know. Look, I hope I'm not vibing too much into this because you all know my personal position as a commentator. So I hope I haven't influenced the cards. But look. This is the Four of Pentacles hanging on to money, but also just hanging on. So the idea of playing close to your chest, if you like. It's not a card of the giveaway. It's holding on. It's the card of holding on to what they think is their power at the moment. Pentacles are money. They're also power. So this is the Dems holding on to that position. This is in the past, the Chariot. So, oh, I get it. Okay, so part of the reason for saying no, I think, from these cards is in the past they've agreed too quickly to certain things and then they haven't happened or whatever, they've been let down. So there's this feeling of the Chariot energy in the past. So it might be rushing to do some cheap and nasty deal as opposed to going for a long-lasting, more ethical, more humane deal. This is their thinking. They did, just like the previous mini reading, juggle, do we say yes, do we say no? Then the Hanged Man. Now, with the Hanged Man, the question was the fallout from this, hanging fire. In other words, there could be a delayed fallout. Another aspect to the Hanged Man that's really important is the upside down figure has a different perspective. So what I'm getting from all of these so far is the Dems are being motivated from a perspective that we, the public, I'm not American, but I'm saying we as a global citizen, they're coming from a perspective that we're not quite sure about. Now, if you're a dyed-in-the-wool Dem, then you say this is consistent with everything they've been saying. There must be a decent permanent solution for the dreamers. So it's consistent. But for many people who, well, 70% of Americans would like the dreamers to stay. So they are genuinely representing what the American population thinks. They can say that, and it's one of those things that's actually true. But the question was about the timing now, and it's not good. It is so not good. The Fool, they've been a bit foolish to say no, I have to say. It's a bit disappointing. As you know, viewers, sometimes I'd love to be wrong. Doesn't happen often. I'm just joking. None of us can get it right all the time. But it's not going to play well. It's not going to play well. Oh, all right. I'm going to load this up for you now. Bye.